Hello everyone. Welcome to this in-depth hammer guide for MonsterHunterWilds. I apologize if a lot of you were disappointed that I didn't get to make this 1 month earlier. I'm just as disappointed as you, because I wanted to, but what can I say, Capcom also took months to change hammer from its sorry state. A little disclaimer before we start. Similarly to my Sunbreak and Iceborne guides, I will not mention hidden mechanics of the weapon such as motion values and stun values. I may mention how powerful a move is, but I do not want new players to get lost with numbers and focus purely on how useful each move is for different situations. I hope this guide will help both returning players and new players, as I will do my best to share my knowledge on what is arguably one of the best designed weapons in the franchise, from a gameplay standpoint. If you enjoy this guide, I would really appreciate it if you considered supporting me. Links in the description. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hammer is a blunt weapon with a relatively slow moveset. Almost all of Hammer's moves require commitment, and have some recovery lag. In exchange for these flaws, Hammer has some significant strengths that make it an extremely powerful weapon in the right hands. Hammer is one of only 2 weapons in the game alongside Hunting Horn that exclusively deal blunt damage. Blunt attacks are unable to cut monster tails, but allow you to stun monsters if you repeatedly bash their head. Stunning a monster completely stops them from doing any actions for 10 seconds, allowing you to deal even more damage. Since Wilds does not have status scaling in multiplayer, this makes Hammer an incredible stun machine support when playing with your friends. Hammer is considered by many to be the most high-risk, high-reward weapon in the series, as it is literally constantly in the face of danger. The reason why is because Hammer is pretty much only good if you are able to consistently hit a monster's head, which is the most dangerous spot on a monster to stay close to. Hammer is an incredibly intuitive and powerful weapon. Its moveset is perfect for beginners in Monster Hunter. While Hammer does have a slow moveset when it comes to animations, it is however blessed by great mobility. Running around with the hammer is fast, it's actually almost the same speed as a hunter's normal jogging speed. You can easily strafe monster attacks or dodge, while thinking about your next actions. While this is the same for a few other weapons, there's one key difference in the case of hammer. This difference is the charge mechanic of hammer. Charged attacks allow you to keep this mobility while preparing a very strong attack at the same time as you move, that you can unleash on the monster when you find an opening. You can see this as a mobile, ticking bomb. You can strafe to avoid a monster's attacks, then unleash your own once you find an opening. Hammer's charged step, a tool inspired by Sunbreak's keeping sway, further enhances this gameplay by allowing you to dodge through a monster attack while keeping your charge for a stylish punish. This smart moveset design encourages a patient playstyle that is incredibly rewarding for beginners who are learning the game, and incredibly rewarding for players who have mastered the weapon and know how to punish every monster's openings with its strongest charge attacks. Furthermore, Hammer's game plan revolves around spacing properly in front and away from the monster, despite being a very close-range weapon. This makes Hammer gameplay visually clear and enjoyable, with a camera that isn't shoved inside the monster most of the time, which is very annoying in Wilds in particular. Hammer's moveset can be divided into two categories: charge attacks and idle attacks. Charge attacks are the bread and butter of the weapon and benefit from its high mobility in order to space around monster attacks and punish their openings. These attacks don't only deal damage, they also rack up stun damage if you land them on the monster's head, paving the way for your idle attacks. I will cover these attacks first, as I consider them to be the most important aspect of the weapon, especially for beginners. Charging the hammer comes at a pretty insignificant cost. It very slowly depletes your stamina. This stamina use doesn't increase if you run while charging either. Hammer has 3 levels of charge. The level increases as you hold the charge. Note that there is no overcharging mechanic unlike Greatsword. Once you reach the level 3 charge, its power remains the same. You can cancel charging by simply dodging. The level 1 charge is performed by simply releasing the charge before reaching the second one. This attack is a side blow that you can follow up by a hook swing by pressing the primary attack button. Quick and easy to use, it is a great combo starter into your idle attacks, which I will cover soon. The level 2 charge is a forward uppercut that moves your character slightly forward. Holding the movement stick in the direction you are facing makes you cover even more distance when performing this attack. It is a great gap closer and your fastest attack for racking up stun damage. It is also excellent at trading with monsters thanks to its offset effect, which is a pseudo counter that protects you from damage and knockback if you time the attack right. The level 1 charge used to be stronger than the level 2 charge in previous games when landing the follow-up. I used to praise it for it, as it encouraged smart charge timing to deal more damage. However, in MonsterHunterWilds, the level 2 charge is now able to use the same follow-up, granting it not only more stun but also more damage than the level 1 charge. The level 3 charge, or charged Big Bang, is one of the most important tools of Hammer and the one you will most likely use the most while learning the weapon. It starts with raising the hammer up and then slamming it on the ground. A critical change to this attack in MonsterHunterWilds is that you do not need to be idle to perform this move anymore, because spinning Bludgeon has been given new inputs. You can now use Big Bang even if you keep moving your character. This is your best punish for short openings. You can immediately dodge after performing this attack. Mighty Charge is a new mechanic introduced in MonsterHunterWilds. Mighty Charge is accessed by pressing the primary and secondary attack buttons after reaching the level 3 charge. This puts you in a new animation where your character will spin the hammer vertically. Releasing the Mighty Charge quickly leads to the Mighty Upswing, a stronger but idle version of the level 2 charge that shares its offset effect. If you hold the charge for an entire spin, however, you get access to Mighty Charge Slam, one of Hammer's strongest moves. While reaching Mighty Charge Slam takes some time, it is your best punish for slightly longer openings, racking up high stun and damage. Charged Step is a new ability introduced in MonsterHunterWilds. Inspired by Sunbreak's Keeping Sway Switch skill, it allows you to dash a short distance while charging the hammer. There are two differences between the two. First, Charged Step can only be used when you charge the hammer. In exchange for this downside, it only consumes stamina to be used now, meaning it can be used many more times than Keeping Sway, which used one wire bug. Charged Step is an amazing emergency tool that allows you to set up your charge attack punishes in situations where simply strafing is not enough to avoid the monster's attack. Not only does it cover distance, it also has iframes at the start which you can use to dodge through attacks. You can dodge through physical attacks, projectiles, and even roars. Spacing around monster attacks and using Charged Step to land Mighty Charge Slams is one of the most important and skillful parts of learning Hammer. Using charge attacks while fighting monsters is one of the most appropriate examples to show how Monster Hunter is this peculiar mixture of a fighting game and a puzzle. Learning the timing of your different levels of charge attacks and knowing when to use each of them for each specific opening you can recognize in the monster's moveset is the major key to learning and mastering Hammer. Focus Blow, Earthquake is Hammer's focus strike. This is a move I rarely use, especially against monster head wounds, because it has very short range and monsters usually move their head back when staggering from the initial strike, which makes a lot of hits of the attack miss. However, the reason why I'm including this attack in the charge attacks section is because this is actually an attack that you can charge. When you are in the middle of the Focus Strikes animation, you can actually hold the charge button in order to access all of your charge attacks after the finisher. If you slightly hold the charge button and immediately release it, then the finisher will immediately be followed by a side blow. If you hold the charge button for a bit until your character starts glowing orange, then the follow-up will be your level 2 charged upswing. If you hold the charge all the way through, then you will be able to use your level 3 charge. Here's where it gets interesting. You can still hold the charge after the finisher, and you will still have a level 3 charge stored, which means that you can follow up the Focus Strike finisher with a mighty charge. Depending on the length of the monster's stagger after the finisher, you can choose to use either a normal charged Big Bang, or take the risk of going for the mighty charge slam. Lastly, Focus Mode allows you to aim your charge attacks. This is especially useful for Big Bang and mighty charge. I do not recommend that you hold Focus Mode while charging your attacks, but rather use it once the charge you wish to use is ready. Idle attacks, which are not so idle in Wilds, are basic combo attacks with hammer. These moves are commonly used when you have large openings against a monster. There are two main combos, the Golfswing combo and the Big Bang combo. The Golfswing combo is Hammer's most iconic and recognizable attack pattern. In MonsterHunterWilds, it is possible to cover distance while performing this combo, which is probably the most critical change it has ever gotten in 21 years of Monster Hunter. The combo starts with 2 overhead smashes and finishes with the iconic, player-based named Golfswing attack, by pressing the primary attack button 3 times. It can also start with a quick side smash instead. To perform a side smash, you must hold a direction while pressing the primary attack button. This attack deals less damage than the overhead smash, but makes performing the combo much faster. Interestingly, the developers have increased the damage of the second overhead smash to be stronger than the first one. This is the first time in the entire series that this is the case, and was most likely done because the side smash is more commonly used. In Wilds, it is possible to hold the Golfswing for a few seconds, and it also has an offset effect. If you release the attack at the right time similarly to the level 2 charge, you will be protected from damage and knockback. You can use Focus Mode to direct the Golfswing towards the monster's attack. As I mentioned earlier, it is possible to cover distance while performing the combo. You can move your character for a few steps in a direction, then press the primary attack button again in order to continue the combo. Do note that this only properly works if you hold a single direction. If you change direction in the middle of the steps, your combo risks being reset. I also recommend you do not use Focus Mode while doing this, as it massively reduces the amount of time you can move in between each attack before the combo is reset. Lastly, Focus Blow, Earthquake can be followed up by an overhead smash in Golfswing if you do not press the charge button at all, which can allow you to set up for an offset. The Big Bang combo is reserved exclusively for massive monster openings. It is an extremely long attack sequence that deals the highest amount of damage Hammer can. You should use this combo when you have successfully stunned a monster, or the monster is paralyzed. or immobilized in any other way, except sleep. It is performed by pressing the secondary attack button. This combo can only be started if the first hit of the combo connects with the target. If successful, keep pressing the secondary attack button repeatedly until the combo finishes with a Big Bang finisher. When a monster is stunned, you have just enough time to perform this combo. Using this attack is much easier than in previous games. Thanks to focus mode, your character will automatically step forward while performing it, if your reticle is on the monster. This makes it easier to not miss any of the hits, which used to be an issue in Monster Hunter World in particular. Spinning Bludgeon is a unique and versatile attack in MonsterHunterWilds that can be accessed from every single attack in Hammers moveset with the exception of itself and the non-finisher hits of Big Bang. Spinning Bludgeon is a great combo tool that I personally love using as a way to continue combos while covering distance, notably when the monster is stunned and its head has moved a bit out of my reach. A notable aspect of Spinning Bludgeon is that its hits have a multiplier that increases the amount of elemental damage status build-up you deal to the monster. This is the case for other attacks, but Spinning Bludgeon deals a lot of hits in quick succession, which is what both element and status like. Spinning Bludgeon has different follow-ups depending on at which number spins you press the primary attack button. A side smash if you attack after the initial 2 hits can lead to a charge or the Golfswing combo. A hook swing if you attack after at least 1 or 2 spins can also be followed up by your idle Golfswing combo. A slightly stronger version of the Golfswing during the 3rd or 4th spin. It's possible to land 5 spins before doing the Golfswing, but the timing is so tight that I usually do not bother trying. If you fail to press the attack button at any point during the Spinning Bludgeon, you will do a botched finisher on the 5th spin. Spinning Bludgeon has a lot of depth and commitment, but thanks to the strong Golfswing finisher having an offset effect, it is much safer and much stronger. You can even hold the attack button after starting Spinning Bludgeon to automatically perform the Golfswing. Having a precise input is not necessary anymore. Spinning Bludgeon into Mighty Charge Slam deals a really high amount of damage on par with or even better than Big Bang into Mighty Charge Slam if your weapon has an element the monster is weak to. The Spin Slam is Hammer's automatic follow-up when you topple a monster with an offset attack. The spinning portion of the attack lasts for 4 spins. If you do not press the primary button during those, the attack will end with a side smash. If you do, however, you will perform the slam, which has nearly no end lag that can be followed up by multiple actions. A Golfswing combo. A spinning bludgeon. A mighty charge. A useful property of this attack is that as long as you are properly spaced in front of the monster during an offset, it automatically drags you close to the monster's head, meaning that all you have to do is input the slam and aim it using focus mode. Aerial attacks are back in MonsterHunterWilds and are separate from the two other categories. The basic aerial slam is performed by pressing the primary attack button. The charged slam is performed by holding and then releasing the charge button in the air. This attack can be followed up by a strong Golfswing. And finally, the iconic mid-air spinning bludgeon. This one is performed by sliding on a slope. It can be followed up by an overhead smash. The beauty of Hammer's moveset in Wilds is how one moveset can combo into the other. For example, you can perform a mighty charge slam after the 4th hit of Big Bang, which I recommend you always do. You can also perform a mighty charge after any Golfswings. The best monsters to train on when learning Hammer are Dashiguma and Raidao. Dashiguma is a monster with a lot of predictable and slow attacks. Its posture leaves its head exposed and close to the ground, allowing you to easily land attacks when it is vulnerable. Dashiguma also has a particularly large head hitbox, making your attacks easier to land on it. Raidao is a classic flying wyvern with a similar stance as the likes of Rathian. This monster leaves its head particularly vulnerable during a lot of its attacks, which Hammer can simply strafe or dodge for several strong punishes. Something very important that makes charge step stand out from keeping sway is that evasion skills actually affect it. Evade window, as well as tumbler meal, increase the amount of iframes, while evade extender increases the distance it covers. Holding a direction while going into a charge in MonsterHunterWilds is surprisingly mobile. The motion of your hunter when doing this simple input is something that I found amazing for micro-spacing. For example, it allows immediate strafing to avoid Gormagla's upward scrap attack. I recommend you watch my Gormagla and Alpha Dashiguna runs in particular to see more of this. The best move to wake up a monster in Wilds is Mighty Charge Slam. Simply stand near the monster's head like this. With great spacing, you can purposely miss the first 2 weak hits of the attack to land only the slam for a pretty brutal wake-up. Counter-Strike is an excellent skill for Hammer. Thanks to the generous offset window of the level 2 charge, as well as the fact that it moves your character forward, the monster's attack will almost always make contact with your character and activate or reset the skill. I highly recommend that you try to fight monsters on even terrain as much as possible. Slopes in this game are absolutely horrid and I really recommend you do not try using the mid-air spinning bludgeon. If you have found yourself on a slope and have no choice however, you can use focus mode to prevent the sliding. When progressing through the story in low rank, there are few standout hammers that I recommend using. The first one is the Hope Hammer. As the first hammer you get to use in the game, its stats will serve you well after a few upgrades. The next one is Rompopolo's Hammer. This hammer is the one I used the most when I was going through low rank. High Raw alongside Poison and Focus 2 is very useful, its only downside is lower sharpness. Lastly, Shuwu's Hammer, towards the end of low rank. This one also sports Focus 2, alongside high sharpness and raw. When it comes to equipment, I don't have a lot to share. Low rank is too short to bother making complex sets. Personally, I stuck with comfort, with a mix of Chatacabra Helm, Hirabami Mail, Nuyudra Arms, Balahara Coil and Greaves. This gave me speed eating and evade extender. Once you get into high rank after completing the story, choosing your next equipment becomes a bit more interesting. Personally, Blangonga is the monster I found to have the best armor for hammer, with counter-strike and agitator, mixed with the Hirabami Helm for evasion skills. The best finalized monster hammers in the game are Binding Mace, from Lalabarina's tree, and the easiest to craft. Exultant Vetiver, Archveil's Hammer. Zaxio's Execution, Shuwu's Hammer. High Vortex Hammer, Legiacrus Hammer. Argil Hammer, Sergio's Hammer, is a viable option for a playstyle that focuses more on dodging and using charged step than abusing offsets. When it comes to endgame sets, I haven't bothered looking too deep into what's the absolute best because I have been a bit busy. My apologies. Here are the few sets that I made, each one has its own strength and focus on affinity stacking alongside different side perks. These most likely barely differ in terms of power compared to what the next meta will be, so feel free to still use them. This one maxes out Agitator and Maximum Might alongside the Guardian Fulgur set bonus, with 2 points of weakness exploit. This one is the same but simply uses the Alpha Zoshia Mail for a level 1 armor slot in which you can put an Absorber decoration for multiplayer. This one is currently my favorite. I've been enjoying using this one in particular because of the Guardian Archveiled Arms, which provide 3 level 1 slots in which I can gem different comfort skills, such as Water/Oil Sit Mobility, Adaptability, or Bleeding Resistance. Recovery speed alongside Zoshia's super recovery is also pretty comfortable for spamming offset attacks. In general, the skill priority for Hammer would be Critical Boost, Weakness Exploit, Agitator, Counter-Strike, Adrenaline Rush, and Burst. Set bonuses are either Gores alongside Antivirus, Fulgurs for better maximum might uptime, or Arch-Tempered Raydouts for tenacity, if you really want to use latent power. I recommend using Focus with Hammer in order to get mighty charge slams faster, but this is up to preference. Thank you everyone for watching. This guide took a lot of time to make, but I hope it covered nearly everything you were expecting. Hammer was in a really sorry and confusing state at the beginning of Wilds. Its performance in the beta was average at best, and the fact that it was nerfed in the full game was really questionable. I hope you'll understand that even if I am happy about what it has received since then, the fact that we waited 3 to 4 months for it to be an actual weapon was unacceptable in my opinion. In the end, I hope that people who will pick the game up after Title Update 2, or people who are coming back to it will appreciate this guide if they wish to learn the weapon. Thank you again, and happy Ungabanka.